everybody. Welcome to Goddess Breath Live. This is Michaela. I am so honored to be hosting this conversation today with Dr. Hudge. Our dear friend Jay, he's in a wonderful network of us, and he's an HHP, Holistic Healthcare Practitioner in our community. And so we would like to warmly welcome him into this inflammation conversation, touch base around the Earth's heating cycles and how inflammation can be a healthful and appropriate response in the body. I'm just going to wait for a little bit to see some folks come on in here. And for anyone who's watching this later, I would like to put on everyone's radar that we have some new offerings coming to our peace offering category. And in the peace offering category and collection, what you will be able to receive in exchange for your joining our email list and connecting into our communications are we have cannabis connection candles. Those are ritual tea lights that burn for 2 hours. We also have our blue kyanite hemp wicks. Those are hand spun by me. And we're going to be offering new Goddess Breath enamel pins, which is really exciting. So I'm going to actually go and grab one. It looks like we have Jay on the line right here. So let me hop and get my pin on, and then we'll have Jay patched in. All right, let us get Jay in here. Hi, family. How's everybody? Excited. Look at you.
Hey there. How you
Bless.
doing?
How are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Look at all that anatomy behind you.
Yeah, I figured it's probably the best thing to keep holding here.
That's right. I
But
love the music in the background. It's very,
yeah,
very serene.
yeah, I'm teaching a shiatsu class today,
Beautiful.
and so I teach Chinese medicine, shiatsu, tuina, deep tissue. Merit of different clinical techniques, etc. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. And so what really drew you to entering the world of holistic medicine?
I think I've just always been a part of it. In terms of, I'm from St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, and, I grew up pretty much in a holistic living kind of way. However, when I was a kid, I used to do Saturday matinee kung fu films, and I was always impressed with the different ways that they would not just fight, but heal and different things along those lines. So that piqued my interest. I read a book when I was 13 on 5 elements, and that got me from that to just always looking at things from that perspective. And so, it's been like a lifelong lifestyle process of being, and I've just expanded on it and grown on it over the years. So yeah, I enjoy this.
It is it's a wonderful system, and it's wonderful that you had the opportunity to live in such an earthbound place, and in a place where you're actually really experiencing those 5 elements interacting on a larger scale. And now that you are an HHP, can see how that's happening within your own body. And I think people are really coming around to understanding that it's the body is more than just an emergency. It's about wellness and promoting well-being to have longevity. So where do you think is a big difference between holistic medicine as you understand it and allopathic medicine that is
the biggest difference is basically reaction versus prevention. I think that oftentimes, and just because I didn't really share me real quick. I think the idea of Chinese medicine is preventative um, medicine, in being able to associate and see the corresponding associations that cue you in to where you need to help yourself or how you need to help yourself over time. Now, I'm an integrative medicine physician with a master's in acupuncture and oriental medicine, applied kinesiology, anatomy, etc. And I view the body and nature as one. It's like, once you get into the concept of five elements, and it becomes more, you start to see it in everything. It's less a system of practice and more just a way of thinking, a way of being, a way of expressing to prevent. And so to answer that question, I think that in allopathic medicine, it's more reactive. If this happens, do this, whereas though Chinese medicine can help with reactive care, it is best applied by creating a habit of prevention through noticing, okay, I feel this pain, so this is how I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to use my breath and movement to address that. I'm going to make sure that I'm hydrated and stuff along those lines. So I think the biggest difference mainly is how we react. With allopathic, we think, oh, let me take a pill for that, not realizing that that pill is thinning your blood, it's affecting your liver, it's depleting organ function in the body. And so, and where in natural holistic living is understanding that you can still have those effects with natural household stuff that you would have utilizing, because food is medicine. And so understanding that, if I have challenges with, like today's topic is inflammation, right? That there are many different ways I can go about addressing inflammation. I could drink green tea every day. If I have high blood pressure, I could switch to a pu'er tea that helps balance your blood pressure as well as your, what do you call it? Your insulin levels, all of those things.
Blood sugar.
Blood sugar, right? And, or, if I'm feeling weak and or feeling like I'm getting cold, I could chew on a piece of garlic and it'll help boost my immune system. Or I can get slices of ginger if my stomach is upset and I'm cramping or I'm not settled, it'll help settle me. So there are different little things that we can do, whether it's consuming or smelling or topicals that we put on to help with a myriad of different challenges that come into play. And one of the things that's so amazing is that it's not too difficult. You don't have to go and try to find like a whole, we'll say, oh, I want inflammation, let me go find some catnip or whatever. And, it might not be as accessible, but rosemary is more accessible. Garlic, cinnamon, these things are more accessible. And so it's how you put them together and consume them. But you don't need to be in wealth to be healthy.
Yes. Yes. And I love that you bring that up, because I think it is so important to talk about accessibility with medicines, and how for very low income folks or people that are living in impoverished situations, that they can feel empowered to reach into their, kitchen cabinet and there's healing in there. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to outsource their wellness to anybody. So for brief, just so people have an understanding, what is inflammation to you in your perspective? And we talked about the elements. So, it sounds like heat. Is it heat, or is it something a little bit different?
Well, it is heat, but it's also irritation. All right. It's also contractions. It's also compressions, irritations, compressions. It's also repetitive use and repetitive movements. Inflammation is a when we speak of inflammation, it happens in so many different ways within our body. It's our body trying to maintain a flow of circulation, but it's meeting stagnation. And that stagnation creates buildup that then irritates. It also means high acidity in the body. When we have a bunch of sugars and sweets and greasy foods in the system, this blocks certain capillaric exchanges that happen within our body. And that blockage in itself creates a buildup, and that buildup can be hyaluronic acid. It could be cellular debris from you may have had an injury that didn't quite heal properly, and the blood that went there died and just left this cellular debris that's causing issues, and then eventually creates inflammation. I mean, inflammation is so many different aspects how it speaks to the body, but I would say to me it is a aspect of contraction, of hindrance, of irritation, and it's about creating better flow, opening up, so that when I hear inflammation, I think, movement is needed, breath is needed, hydration is needed, and detoxing is needed to help release. And there are simple ways to detoxify the body without going into real debt to do so.
Yes. And we spoke a little bit earlier, and thank you so much for that amazing, simple, and clear explanation of what inflammation is, because we hear it a lot, and we hear, I think it's a bit of an oversimplification that all disease is rooted in inflammation. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. So I feel if we could really use and understand inflammation as a distress signal, as a call for help, then we can apply the correct practice and really listen to that. And so what I'm really curious about is what I'm seeing in the world. You know, we have desertification going on. We have places that used to be able to produce food no longer being able to produce food. We have, you know, this incredible rise in temperature in areas, and then this incredible cooling in other areas. So do you feel that the earth is having some kind of inflammatory response, or how would you really name what earth is dealing with, you know, on a whole system level, the way that us as humanity is kind of experiencing our own ailments?
I think that our connection is so intrinsic that the earth is going through a natural, it has to maintain its own balance. And in its maintaining its own balance from our natural imbalance of how we deal with the earth in different ways, the earth's inflammation affects how we eat. Like our association to the earth for our body is our stomach and our spleen, how our body receives, how we receive information, and how we process it, how we transform. This is our spleen. It transforms, and it transports those nutritions and stuff along those lines within the body. And so the earth in and of itself, how we connect with it and ground ourselves to the earth, it represents itself. So in our lives, in our daily expression, we are not receiving information well. In fact, we're regurgitating oftentimes, and we're not processing and transforming and transporting the nutrients of that information to ourselves by applying the actions and the practices that help us to grow better in it. So in that translation of the earth, because the earth is about being home, grounded, nurturing, and growing, our foods have to nurture us. And because we perverse our foods with chemicals, etc., it makes it so that our body can't receive it. So in essence, the earth in and of itself is not receiving the way that it would normally. And so that reaction, because it's connected to all the other elements of the universe, etc., is creating an imbalance in weather, an imbalance in how we are emotionally affected by the earth and the moon and the sun, etc. So the it's a very microcosmic, macrocosmic expression of how we living in fear, and granted fear has been taught and been conditioned over time, and we don't realize that we have this fear response to the earth, and to how we deal with the earth in pulling her out of balance by keeping ourselves out of balance. So finding what balance is, understanding what balance is for ourselves, understanding what foods are good to eat, staying away, hopefully, from processed foods and fast foods and different things, and getting back into the agriculture of growing foods, consuming those growth foods so that we can boost our nourishment and our nutrition, so that the earth nourishes us and we nourish the earth by creating that cyclical agricultural nourishing. So I think that you know, it's one and the same. The trauma in the earth is our trauma in our expression. And so when we are able to settle and calm and receive, then we're able to nurture. When we're able to hear, process, and act, then we're able to inspire that growth that the earth keeps us grounded within, because we need it just as it needs us.
Yes. Wow, that is such a powerful call to action. Thank you so much, because that's what I feel people really need to hear is how do we, return? What does the return look like? And when you envision, the future of planet Earth and coming back into this harmonic together, do you feel like it happens on the individual level first, that people have to make a conscious decision about how they're going to walk upon the earth?
I think for sure it has to be a conscious effort, or making that decision, because
Yes.
our earth is about our grounding, and so it is about coming to a firm idea of how we're going to live, and bringing our breath in play, because not taking the earth for granted because we live on it, but
Yes.
interacting with it, breathing with the earth cleanses us so that we can act more clearly, hydrating, making sure that we're consuming enough waters to balance ourselves.
Yes.
Alkaline water, preferably 9.5 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
But the aspect of the individual choosing, this is our earth state, our earth being is sitting and deciding how do we want to express, rather than how we're going to react. So,
Yeah.
so the earth is about not reacting, but deciding how we live. And because it has that natural cleansing, that natural nurturing, that natural calm that it brings, if we take the time to settle ourselves and just simply breathe with the earth, it helps us to come into a clearer understanding of what are the actions that we need to take to expand ourselves on this earth, without it being, death.
Yeah. And I love that you are really kind of incorporating the lived experience of these elements, right? Like we're talking about inflammation being kind of an overreaction of fire, right? And then you're talking about like that cooling energy of air and grounding down into that earth, and drinking that good water. So, would you say in a day, to really be in an optimally healthy place and balancing inflammation in the body, would a person need to interact and exchange with all elements in their day if they just had a checklist? Okay,
I think
I took care of my water element, I took care of my earth element today.
I think if we can simply, and this is something that you'll hear on any of my morning chi exercise, chi cultivations, pretty much meditations, anything that I do, I share that if we can just simply hold alkaline water in our mouth 3 times per hour, all right, that helps open up these contracted, condensed spaces within our body. And
Wow.
if we can breathe 3 deep, releasing ha sound breaths, breathing in, exhaling 3 times, breathing in, exhaling, and the third, breathing in, exhaling. Just by doing those 3 breaths and holding alkaline water in your mouth for 20-30 seconds, one, it helps open up our capillaric exchange so that our body can receive the nourishment and the nutrition and the hydration that it needs, so that it can calm the heat that's built up from our sympathetic fight or flight existence. 2, exhaling to release, allowing us to feel our body, because unfortunately in this fight or flight existence that we live in, we stop feeling ourselves, feeling where we are. And so I think it comes back to taking that moment to breathe 3 times per hour, or to hydrate 3 times per hour at minimum, helps you to come in contact with you, to ground you, to let go of the things that you're holding on to, and in turn release inflammation or the buildup that would cause inflammation, as a natural daily practice. Then of course there's exercise, there's movement that you add in, and if you can add this breath and hydration to your movement, then you're opening up yourselves to clear your mind of frustration and angers and resentments, to clear your body of aches and pains and building issues. And the process becomes where you're able to interact and do in a more harmonious manner without reacting, but choosing to act from your health base. And just by adding those 2 things,
Wow.
aids the whole process of reconnecting with the earth.
Wow. And thank you for that guided, just real quick, those 3 breaths right there. And I mean, even just doing those 3 breaths changed my vision, like my overall vitality just felt amplified. And it's just amazing how simple it is. And last week we spoke about rest, and rest as an act of resistance, and how important it is to be able to pull back for just a moment, to get out of reaction and to get with God, basically, just get with source energy. And we really do that through the breath. And, that is such an accessible medicine. And water, I would love to say water is an accessible medicine. And unfortunately, there are many people in the world living without clean water, living without good alkaline water. So, I don't know if you have advice for this, but say someone, they only have access to purified water, or they only have access to Arrowhead water because that's what their parents buy. And, how can they transform their water? Could they pray to the water? Can they add lemon juice or cucumber? How do they elevate, their hydration?
There are many different ways that you can augment your water to aid you better. Yes, lemon and cucumber is a way, allowing it to soak in the water. Making sure that water isn't like super cold, but just more room temperature, helps it to absorb, and it helps alkalize the water. Another way is intermittently. add a pinch of baking soda to your water.
Mm.
All right. This will help alkalize your water. It'll also help free your body up from lingering aches and pains. It's not something that you want to do every single day,
Yeah.
but by putting a pinch of baking soda in your water,
Mm.
this helps to move away those acidities that are causing inflammation within the body, to help lower those inflammatory existences within the body. There's baking soda, cucumbers, lemon. Now, with the lemon and cucumber, I typically would only do like lemons in the morning or before noon, and then you could just drink your regular water after that, because in the morning is the best time to allow your body to flush, to get everything to move, especially when we break fast, when we first get up. It's a good way to get all those sitting fluids or sitting acidities that were taking time to fester overnight as you slept, to flush your body and allow that to move. So if you don't have access to alkaline water 9.5 or higher, then definitely putting lemons, cucumbers, baking soda. You can even add rosemary to your water to help with flushing the inflammatory response of the body.
We have a question. Can you add the baking soda to water with lemon in it? Can combining these two,
You can, but as I said, you don't want to do the baking soda every single day. You want to do, maybe 3 days on, 2 days off, or 3 days on, 3 days off, stuff like that. You can. You don't want to overdo it. That's why I say just a pinch, because too much will disrupt your natural ability to absorb certain things. It will cause you to pee too much. All right. But the key is holding it in your mouth. If you hold that water in your mouth for 30 seconds, 3 times before swallowing, hold 30 seconds, swallow, hold 30 seconds, swallow, hold 30 seconds, swallow. By doing that, you prime your system to receive, to optimize the benefits of absorption, the benefits of your metabolism improves. And so you can do it all together. I would say either or personally, unless your body is in a state of constant pain. If your body is in a state of constant contraction and pain, yes, put that baking soda in the water. At least help take the edge off.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, take care of yourself for sure. But definitely, you can drink green teas. Green tea is really good for flushing inflammation, getting inflammation out of the body as well, and flushing the body. However, it is also dehydrating. All right. So you want, for every cup of tea, you want to at least add another cup of water, just water to that. So the difference is recognizing what's causing that dehydration aspect to your cells, to your body, and countering that with clean, clear water if you can, and not always having to put something in your water. But when you do, use it as medicine, treat it as medicine throughout your day. And that way, when you come back to just the regular, you'll notice the difference in how your body absorbs. By holding the water for 30 seconds, it cuts your pee time in half. And this is mainly with, because a lot of people's like, oh, I drink 8 cups of water, and they're usually just throwing it down. But that's like watering a plant and just pouring water in it. It gets all over the place. The plant doesn't absorb it. But by putting a little, allowing it to sit, the plant absorbs. You add a little bit more, it absorbs some more, and you don't have that mess. So in the same aspect, we got to treat ourselves like plants. hold that
Yes.
water in our mouth, allow our body to absorb it. All right, 20, 30 seconds. The more pain you are in, the longer you hold your water. Is a nice, easy way to kind of address that. And,
Wow.
you know, so there are many different things, I mean, you can do. You can add fruits to your water as
Mint
well.
leaves, someone mentioned, they said, you know, are mint leaves beneficial in your water?
Yes, mint leaves as well. Really good for getting that blood to move as well as releasing buildup and toxicity in the body. So, and it aids your lymphatic drainage. So it's so good. Water is like the best thing you can do for your body.
It is life, and I want to honor your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You gave such wonderful pieces of advice that are so applicable, and I am in love with your path, and thank you for finding us. And is there a way that people can connect to you, to your channel? Do you have a weekly show or a daily show where people can interact with you?
I have well, I haven't been daily because my schedule kind of got crazy lately, but I typically try to do early morning chi movement, chi cultivation
Very
on
cool.
Facebook as well as Instagram. I do meditations more this year, doing meditations, and I'll be adding in exercises and stuff. There's more to come in terms of I like this. I love being able to talk on different health topics, and
Yeah.
so just tune in to J Emanuel Hudge, MSAOM or HHP. So that way you can see me on Facebook. It's just use my name, J, just the letter, Emanuel, 1M1L, and Hodge. And
Beautiful.
you know, I have a YouTube channel as well, same
Great.
name, and I try to address everything within health, with dealing with crystals, dealing with different healing techniques, balancing techniques, etc. And I'll be teaching a bunch of different classes. I teach here at Healing Hands School of Holistic Health, and I have a elective class coming up in June called Body Balancing, where you learn how to balance the body utilizing the muscles, etc. So yeah.
What's up?
Thank you.
No, I thank you so much. And, you know, thank you for joining us on your lunch break. We so appreciate you taking the time. And, you know, everyone just show some love to Dr. Hodge. Thank you
I
so much
appreciate
for your wisdom.
having me.
We love you, brother. And we hope to see you soon. Have a beautiful day. Thank you and take care.
Thank you. Have a
Love
good one.
that.
Bye bye. Thanks again.
Absolutely. Bye.